Good morning, guys. We're going to get the stream started in a couple minutes. Just letting this video loop run because it's cool to look at, and it also allows the streaming software to get aligned. As you join in, if you don't mind, just let me know if you have some audio. I'm just going to be speaking to kind of get that aligned and ensure that the software is all set up. Appreciate it if, as you guys join, you let me know if the audio is working. This is going to be a live stream to preview the Bengals-Ravens game from Sunday night. I will have a progression of things I'd like to get through, so occasionally I'll have to stop the film that I'm showing and flip over to a different play set, so I'll have to show like a still or just a picture to you guys. If you're listening to this on a rewatch after the live stream preview, this will be a near complete preview of the game. There will be some missing elements, to be honest with you. I'm not really going to preview things about Mark Andrews or Devin Duvernay or even Jamar Chase a whole lot, to be honest with you. I feel like it's a given that those guys are going to produce something for their teams. I feel like it's a given that they'll have an impact. And so as we get going through here, there will be a little bit more film of complementary players and some of the strategy that I think will be utilized by both teams, both coaching staffs, I should say. But I think the Ravens are going to have to come in and make some adjustments, especially defensively. You guys can let me know what your perspective is. But I could foresee a situation where the Ravens have to play a little bit different defensive style than maybe they've shown thus far. So I'm going to get started with some of the film here in a moment. All right, so we're going to start off, get this loaded up with some film of Lamar Jackson running some option plays. And there's going to be a reason for that. I'm going to start off with 2022 film of Lamar running the main two or base two option plays that the Ravens are relying on thus far. It's QB counter read and QB power read. You may be unfamiliar with those concepts, but they've been a big concept for the Ravens this year. Why am I showing this? Last year, it's my opinion that the Bengals wanted Lamar to run. Now, you may say, that doesn't make sense, Coach. The Ravens running backs last year were subpar. They were not to the level of J.K. Dobbins, even Justice Hill now, and Gus Edwards. I offer to you that schematically, the Bengals defense last year was trying to put pressure on Lamar. They were trying to, in my opinion, get Lamar to keep the ball on option plays and try to force as much pressure on him as possible. I did not think by the third possession last year in 2021, I'm talking about the Week 7 game, okay? By the third possession, I thought it was somewhat obvious that the Bengals were on these read plays. I'm going to stop this and explain something in a minute. Now, this is a slightly different play than the ones I'm going to show from 2021, but you've got Duvernay going in motion, and the read guy is this D-end right here. Now, what the Bengals were doing on read plays last year was the D-ends were stepping down. So that will be a give read for Lamar. That would be a keep read for Lamar. So he would keep the football on most option plays. This is inverted. Some people call this inverted veer. We just call it QB power. So the read now is the outside threat is the guy in motion, and Lamar is the off-tackle threat. So that's why some people call it inverted, because the first threat is the outside threat, Duvernay, and the second threat is Lamar. I think if the Ravens are looking for something that is going to be reliable and consistent early, this might be it. Now, when I say this might be it, that doesn't mean that this is their only option for real. Mark Andrews is going to produce. I believe Devin Duvernay is going to produce. Here's an example of the Ravens running the same concept against the Bills. QB power read, inverted veer. Some people, I think Cole Jackson, asked me on Twitter, like, is that what you guys call it? Yeah, man. I mean, everybody has different names, terminology-wise, football-wise. But you can see the first part of this for Lamar is giving the ball to Justice Hill, or the running back. Justice Hill apparently won't play. And in this case, they brought a safety. They being the Bills, they brought a safety off the edge to account for Justice Hill. So Lamar keeps it and runs off tackle. I wonder what the Bengals' plan is going to be, because I know they're going to have a good one. They're super prepared defensively, and I would expect them to have a plan to account for Lamar running the football. but it's going to be difficult for them nonetheless because of how great the Ravens are at executing this concept. Now, if it's your first time watching this or you're a Bengals fan or something, one of the indicators you have for this play is Ricard on one side and then the running back next to Lamar on the other side. We don't really have any same side runs. What same side runs means is the running back maybe meshing with Lamar and then running back here to this side, maybe like a counter play with a guard pulling. Same side runs are always difficult for shotgun teams or spread teams. It's always a constant issue, and that's why some people are in the pistol. You can see Lamar's reading, in this case, the safety who goes with with Justice Hill and keeps it. Now, in a moment, I'm going to go to some 2021 film. If you're a Ravens fan and that film triggers you, my apologies, but I understand because Week 7 was a wake-up call for us in terms of the offense and the predictability that we had from our coaching staff. Cam, what's up, man? Thank you for letting me know. This is QB counter read against the Patriots in Week 3. So now the back is going opposite the pulling lineman. On the previous play, he was going in the same flow as the pulling lineman. What's up, Athenian, man? Thank you for letting me know. I just saw your message pop up again. It popped up twice for me. You guys still got good audio. Let me know. And then Lamar is going to keep it and bounce it outside. Every team that we have played has had trouble with this concept. If the Bengals really want to shut down everything that the Ravens do, they have to have an answer for this concept. And just numerically, I'm not sure that it's possible. You're either going to have one safety or two safeties high, period. You're going to have to line up over the receivers. We're just doing math right now, all right? So by my math, you got 5 guys out of the box. So the people that I'm talking about is these DBs and then the free safety who's in the middle of the field. That's 5. So just do the math there. You got 6 left over. Once we get to end zone angle, you'll see the math just doesn't add up. To defend this play properly, you're a man down because we're playing 7 on 6 in that space, in that box space. So I'm going to talk about this space right here. Do I think the Ravens are going to come in and run QB counter read and QB power read 15 times? Well, no. Do I think that it's possible the Ravens come in and have it as a check to run often? Oh, yeah, I do. If you guys got audio, let me know. I'm not getting any info in the chat. All right, so anyway, 7 on 6 for the Ravens because the quarterback counts now because he's a run threat. And you got 6 defenders for the Patriots. This is similar to what the Bengals are going to give, except their safeties, their nickel safeties. Let me get some of this off the screen. Von Bell, whoever plays their nickel safety, these guys are spectacular at playing against the run for being safeties, nickel guys. But this is an extremely difficult concept to defend, and I think that the Ravens might go to this early and see what. Yes, Xavier. First of all, great question. Thank you, Christian and Thomas. I appreciate that. I got messages popping up. It looks like I got messages popping up all at the same time. I had your 3 messages pop up all at the same time. So, yes, it's possible to run it from a different formation. Let me back up and answer your question a little bit. Typically, when we run power read, Ricard's going to be right here opposite the back. When we run QB counter read, there won't be anyone here. There will not be a player here. So if you're looking for an indicator, if you're a Ravens fan, Bengals fan, whatever, if you're looking for an indicator for whether it's QB counter read or QB power read, and look, I have a little bit of a cheat code right now off screen up here to the top for me. Off screen up here to the top, I have all the data that I've put in my database. So, and other people help me with it too. It's not all just my work. So I can see that. You guys can't see that. Maybe in another stream I'll show that. Jonesy, first of all, good morning. Thank you. Thank you, man. I really look forward to these on Saturday morning, man, and I want to make them be a little bit higher quality than they have been in the past. So I have a progression of plays I want to get through, and I have some points I'd like to make. I'm certainly not going to be ignoring the chat. I want to track the things you guys are asking, but this is kind of predetermined where this is going to go, at least as a shell or a foundation. Am I saying that, hey, the Bengals are going to have trouble with QB power read and QB counter read? No. Teams have slowed it down. Here's an example of that right here. They've created a 5-1 look. They being the Patriots defense. Xavier, I'm sorry, did I not? Yeah, Xavier, I don't think I really answered it though, as in depth as I would like to. So forgive me for that. I mean, yeah, like now again, let me think that I'm still answering your question, Xavier, and point something out to you that I pointed out a minute or two ago. Look what you got right here. You got Ricard, and you got the running back on the opposite side. That's QB power read. What the Ravens might want to do is and it was somebody in the chat who I could tell was probably a football coach talking about running QB power read back to this side with Lamar. So the back would cross Lamar's face, the right guard and right tackle would pull, and then Lamar would be reading this D end right here, which is Judon. You can always tell it's Judon because he got the red long sleeves on. And he would be reading him, and then possibly, if Judon goes with the back, then Lamar would keep it. And what I'm talking about is running it opposite of trips, because so far we have never done that. We being the Ravens, we have never run the QB counter read back to the backside of trips. So if you're looking for something that the Ravens might do to take advantage of, see, the Bengals are prepared. They're going to be prepared for what the Ravens do. Their defense is very smart. Their coaches are very smart. If you're looking for something we could do to kind of out-scheme them, here's one thing we could do. We could put Andrews backside here, because when we run the QB counter read, bash, Andrews is normally back. He's normally to the side of the back. So he's normally to the side where Lamar is going to keep it. And then put 3 guys over to this side. So basically, act like this guy's not there. Act like Demarcus Robinson's not there. And then run it to the backside of trips. I probably didn't explain that in a real smooth way, but point being, betray some of our tendencies and execute concepts that we know how to execute. Because, missing Bateman, missing Justice Hill, those are big pieces. Other NFL teams or fan bases might laugh and say, like, oh, Bateman isn't all that. And Justice Hill is a special teams player. Like, the dude is producing for us. All right, again, it's going to be a couple more examples of this. There's the back. Who do you notice is not right here? There's no Ricard. So what that means is this is QB counter read, unless it's a pass play, right? I mean, it could obviously be a pass play, and that's the whole point, is they've got to cover and line up to these receivers. And this tight end, they have to. I don't care if it's Prochet. I don't care if it's Demarcus Robinson. Who's out there? They've got to line up to it. Cam, absolutely. Betray tendencies. Set a false trap. Set a false trap. I'm in like an enclosed room, so I'm trying not to talk too loud. So if I get fired up, like, yeah, I love the language you just said, like betray tendencies. Give them some intel. Let them act on that intel, and then counter them. But this is a really good defense. The Bengals defense is legit. I'll show some film of that later on. I got to kind of move past this point here soon, and I'm hoping that it's more people that's going to join the stream. But if not, it would be great to have a small group that can ask consistent questions or make observations that maybe I'm missing. So again, just the last time I'll point this out, the back is on Lamar's left. No Ricard here. It's not QB power read. It's not QB power read. QB power read would be Dobbins crossing face, Powers pulling and wrapping, and then Lamar reading this guy. And if Lamar keeps it, let's say that guy goes upfield to attack Dobbins, then Lamar would keep it and run to the same side that Dobbins is going to. That's QB power read. QB counter read, he's going the opposite way. That's the only run play we can offer here. And in my opinion, we've got to kind of find a way to break that tendency. And the way to do that, I think, is put Ricard here. Let the Bengals think that it's going to be QB power read. That's supposed to be a 42. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to write neatly on a screen with a mouse. And then run the QB counter read back to this side. Because now we've given them our tendency, Ricard, and we're going against it. And look, Ricard is a tendency for this team, whether we're in the shotgun or the pistol or whatever. So maybe one more example of this. Actually, this is the first one. All right, give me a second. I'm going to load up the next playlist. And this is examples of option stuff from last year. So this is going to be option plays against the Bengals in 2021. RJ, I'm going to get to the defense later. I'm not trying to ignore your question. But to the second part of your question, we absolutely have to keep the foot on the gas pedal. But I'm going to get to the defense later, okay, buddy? All right, this is 2021 against the Bengals. Very multiple defense. You can see they're in a 4-3 set here in terms of personnel and how they're lining up. And I believe they gave us the run to Lamar last year intentionally. So what I mean is, Sam Hubbard is the read. This is our counter option play. So Lamar's going to open and face this side. All right. If those lines are too much or they're not neatly drawn, let me know. I need to get a better telestrator at some point. So he's the read, okay? Watch what he does. I'll slow this down. Watch what he does and tell me what you think he's taking away. He's staying very square. This is what Odafe Owe did last year when he was the read man. He would stay very square and basically play half man. If it's a give, then he could, run down the line and try to get involved on the backside. And if the quarterback keeps it, then he could become a half man defender on the inside shoulder, inside leverage, just pursuing, not letting Lamar cut it back. In my opinion, this should be a keep read, and here's why. Usually when Ricard is the fullback, we run in the option to this side, all right? In this case, Lamar's opening to the side, the running back's going counter, and Ricard is betraying a tendency by going out here. I think we're going to run this play on the first possession against the Bengals, and it's going to be auto keep. Lamar's not even going to read this D end. He's just going to keep it. And let me show you why. Look, there's Andrews stalking an inside linebacker, and then there's Ricard, who would, he could loop out here for a safety. He could go inside and seal an inside linebacker. This is a play that's been there for us for the better part of a year and a half. Pistol, fullback on the right, number 2 receiver on the right, run the counter look, counter wind back look, even pull some linemen. You pull some linemen, you get some steps this way by these linebackers, and then auto keep it. In my opinion, we run this play probably on the first 3. I think this will be one of our first 3 plays. You feel like, Jonesy, I actually have some film of Likely coming up here in a moment. I think that's the next set of plays I'm going to show. But no, I don't think we're using him enough. Having said that, he's just not a good blocker. At this point in time, he's not a good blocker. I'm not saying he never will be. I'm not saying he won't improve, but it's a huge difference between him and even Josh Oliver, who I think we'll all admit Josh Oliver is not there to be a primary blocker. But even the difference between Oliver and Likely, I feel is pretty big in terms of blocking. So I think at this point, he's a big slot. And I'll show some film of him here in a moment. I actually have a whole playlist ready to go for Isaiah Likely. But anyway, there's the DN. You can see that he's not running upfield at Lamar because he's got 2 keys. He's got 2 keys right now. He's got the mesh and he's got the fullback releasing outside of him. As a 3-4 outside linebacker, not necessarily a 4-3 D end, you're taught don't ever let the fullback cross your face in a lot of defensive schemes. In this case, because of the read, he's allowing the fullback to cross his face and get outside of him. That's creating a numerical advantage for us only because of the speed of Lamar. I think we're going to keep this, and I think it's going to be early, and I think we're going to take off to the sideline behind Ricard and Andrews. Maybe 2 more plays of option stuff from 2021. Look at what they're doing. They're creating a 4-4, cover 3 shell, probably man-free, if you ask me from what it looks like. And this time we've got, I think, Andrews and Ricard over here on the right-hand side. Running the option to that side, and this is one that Lamar keeps. I think this is there, guys. If the Bengals play the same way they played last year, and to my point from the last play, and this is why I set these plays up in this order, to try to show you guys I think something that the Ravens are going to do. Here's the DN that's being read. You'll see the end zone angle in a moment. Again, counter wind back by the running back. And we got Ricard on an inside linebacker, and we got Andrews on a safety, and then we've got, obviously a receiver blocking a corner, Lamar keeping it. We got numbers. I think we've got to punish them with this. I'm not saying, hey, the Bengals don't know how to play option. I think this was their plan. I think their design was we want to make him run the ball because then he's going to have to turn around the next play or the next 2 plays and execute some pass concepts, which is very difficult to do. So here you go, read man, Ricard going to frontside inside backer, Andrews going to the safety, and we got numbers. We're in business. Oh, absolutely, Thomas. No doubt. I'm not saying that we have to just continue to bash our head up against the wall. You're absolutely right. We've got to take some shots at some point. It's unfortunate that Bateman isn't available, to play because I think he could help us. A missed block by Ricard. Again, that same scheme. We have Andrews and Ricard on the same side. And when I say that same scheme, you have Lamar opening to this side, the running back coming downhill. Look at the D end. He's taking away the dive. That's the fundamental way to play it, is for the D end to take the running back. I'll let it run back one more time and then pause it. Do I pause this stuff too much? If so, let me know. The D end is taking the running back, and we've got Andrews on a linebacker. Ricard should be able to get this guy. We've got a blocker for him. This is just bad by Ricard, and in my opinion, this is what happens when you put so much pressure on your quarterback. Lamar doesn't want to go, up in this lane because there's two safeties filling, Von Bell and Jesse Bates. So the Bengals schematic plan, I think, is a good one. I really do think it's a good one. But I think that we've got to take advantage of it. Maybe it's us taking the bait, but at this point in time, unless we can hit some stuff downfield or even take shots downfield, because like Thomas said, I don't feel like we're taking enough shots downfield. This is going to be my last part about the option. It's hopefully going to be people that join in later that are going to ask about certain things, and I'm going to refer them back to the beginning of the video. You can see Ricard just doesn't do a good job of getting up to Wilson. Doesn't seal him off, which would have given Lamar, the possibility to hit this vertically and then hopefully get down and protect himself. He's our biggest asset, obviously, so maybe running the ball with him 10, 12 times a game by design is not a good option. But otherwise, I'm not sure how we win this game. All right, give me a second. I'm loading up another playlist. I forget who it was that asked about likely. All right, we're going to get to the likely film here in a moment. Chris B, what's up, man? Jonesy, I agree totally. I agree totally that getting Gus back is huge. He's a baller. Gus Edwards is incredibly underrated across the league. People don't understand how good he is. I mean, he averages 5 yards a carry every season. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? RJ, he said a little bit of a hot take. I think likely's going to have a big game. That would not surprise me at all. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay, let's look at some likely film here. Now, unfortunately, like, you guys can't see the data. I have the data off screen. It's a lot of zeros. It's a lot of zeros in here, meaning incomplete passes. So likely is down here. And we go through a lot here to try to create a favorable matchup. We motion Ricard in. We motion Bateman across. And this is my overall point for the whole game. In my opinion, we've got to establish the option. And that goes against what I just said 3 weeks ago, which is we need to move away from the pistol option. At this point, well, Charles, what's up? First of all, Charles touched on it kind of. He didn't talk about the specific scheme, but the Bengals defense is tough. It's going to be difficult to generate consistent offensive concepts. How can we do that? I mean, the pistol option with Lamar keeping the football looks like a good option. So let's do it this way. Conceptually, if we have a 10-play drive, where we get down to inside the 5. Hopefully we get a touchdown, right? But if we have a 10-play drive, how many times am I saying we should run pistol option? 3. Maybe 4, if it's working great. But there's a limited shelf life on that. And in order to punish the Bengals for trying to stop the run, we got to do stuff like this. Mesh with the running back, hopefully get people moving forward, meaning second-level defenders, and then hit the slant end behind them. Yeah, this ball's thrown a little bit lower than Lamar would like it to be. I think it's thrown about a foot and a half off. Likely's over here to the left-hand side of the screen, by the way. If I talk too fast or I'm annotating too fast, let me know. You can see the mesh. This guy thinks he's the read man because he's left unblocked. Card's going to get him. And the slant window is there. The Bengals, if you ask me, are going to try to stop Mark Andrews. JB, I mean, is this play, JB, is this play one that you're asking about? Like, would you consider this? I mean, this isn't a deep ball, but I think this is off of the option, right? Because I think what you're asking is complementary plays that look like option, but we can use to punish the defense for trying to stop the option. Series-based football, I think is what you're talking about. Series-based football. So, and Charles kind of touched on it right there with a comment. If they're going to take away Andrews, then somebody else has got to win some matchups. And without Bateman, it's likely, or it's Duvernay. I don't know if Prochet will be eligible. He had a great, or eligible. I don't know if Prochet will be active. He had a great game against them in the second game up in Cincinnati. Totally agree, Charles. Totally agree. We run it too much through Andrews. Comparing Andrews to LeBron is a poor comparison. However, and I've been a LeBron James fan for a long time, okay? one of the things that some friends of mine and I have come to the conclusion about is some of the young guys that play with LeBron don't develop because they're locked into a certain style of play, which is LeBron initiating everything on almost every possession to maximize his talents and his gifts. That's okay when it's the NBA Finals and it's Game 6. But when it's, late October and the first week of the season or whatever, we need the young guys to get some play. So we got options with Likely, I think, as a complementary piece to Andrews. In my opinion, the route that I want to see run is not these. Now, this is a 3rd and 9. So I'm not necessarily talking about 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9, we got to run some outbreaking routes with Andrews. But I mean other downs. All right, now we don't have any running back in the backfield. In my opinion, we got to do something like this. Andrews on the over, and then Likely on the under. If it's man, if we think we're getting man, he's a big body. He's got to catch the football, though. What's up, Daniel? Thank you for joining, man. So he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. If we get, how many catches do you all think we need to get out of Likely? If there's a formula to win this game, how many catches do you think we need to get from Likely to have some type of impact, like a realistic number? He's not going to have 9 catches, But the dude's got skills. He showed that in the preseason. Lower level of competition, obviously. RJ, I was going to say 5. So I'm with you there. Let me fast forward past this one. All right, a little RPO, I think. And 7, Charles, okay. 4. If he gets 4 or 5, I think we got a chance. And I'm okay if some of them are like this. You guys let me know what you think. This is basically the Marquise Brown route from last year. And it's shield stuff from these two, from Duve and Andrews, shield stuff. In my opinion, I'd like to run this, and I'd like to change Andrews' alignment and put him over here. Put Andrews there. And then run the RPO away from Andrews. Just numerically, I feel like they're going to account for Andrews with 2 guys. Oh, yeah, Charles, that's a great point. If Andrews is going to come out at all, yeah. I think we're all of one accord, like 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there. I mean, are you all on the same page with me? Like, Rashad Bateman is a high-level talent. We're absolutely going to miss him. Now, I think other people around the NFL would say other things because the NFL reactions and analysis, in my opinions, is so, toxic. It's toxic. Rashad Bateman had a terrible game. But the dude can play. And for us, it's a huge loss. Huge loss. I love the design of this play. This is going to be the last Likely play that I do because I really have a lot of defensive film I wanted to get to. I think you're getting a wheel by Likely. I think you're getting something like this here. And then Andrews running the out, I believe. I had it drawn up on screen a minute ago and I erased it. Yeah, so Likely is just wide open, taking advantage of the opportunity. Yeah, JB, JB, you bring up a good point. The Bengals don't cover the flats that much. Now they do on motion. What they do not do is they do not roll the safeties. The DBs unless it's man. But the DBs, typically when they get motion, I'm not necessarily talking about running back motion. I'm talking about like a slot motion and a cross. These guys will not move for the Bengals. And I'll have some more film of their defense a little bit later. Yeah, Bateman had one bad game. Yeah, really bad game, right? No, RJ, I didn't see that about OBJ at all. I mean, I like OBJ, but I feel like for impact for us, that day's over. But I hope he comes back and he contributes to somebody. Just not sure it's going to be us. All right. The next guy I wanted to highlight in terms of impact is JK. And I don't think it'll be fair. I don't think it'll be fair for us to expect JK to have, 18, 20 carries. But how many carries do you think, how many touches? Let me rephrase that. How many touches do you think JK needs to have in order for us to have a chance to win? When that winning formula, I think for us to win, he's got to have at least 10 to 12, probably 14 or 15. And I think he's showing all the skills that he had. Trey, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. But the burst doesn't look the same to me. It doesn't look like the same burst so far. I do like this, though. This is normally what we do with Ricard. And, just face it, Ricard is going to be out there in some empty formations, and he's going to be there for one reason and one reason only, to chip and then slip out into the flats. Well, this is pretty much what we do here on the other side with JK. Oh, man, Charles, I like that idea. So have Stanley play limited snaps to give him – that's a cool idea. I'll be honest with you, Charles. I had not thought of that. I've seen that done with other guys. Didn't we kind of do that with JK in his first game? Wasn't his first game in New England? And it seemed to me that like late third quarter, we shut JK down. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong there. It seemed like we kind of shut JK down. These is going to be some run plays. So it's all JK. I'm not going to spot shuttle. My bad. This is another pass out into the flats. I think this is one where the ball's got to come out. I might be wrong. Yeah, this ball's got to be. I mean, look, you guys know Lamar Jackson, my favorite player, but like this ball's got to come out. That's just the way it is. That ball's got to be delivered to that player. And to some of you guys' point, like we're too focused on Andrews. Our eyes are not on Andrews right now. This is a ball that's available for another player, a complementary player to catch, and it's got to be out. We end up making something happen because Lamar is special and very smart. And I'm glad we got the ball to JK, but in my opinion, we got to get rid of that ball. That's right, Jonesy. Great point. Yeah, let me make sure I got myself in line here. I mean, it certainly looks like to me, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Lamar's helmet isn't looking at Robinson. It certainly looks like in this instant he's looking at the free safety. So I'm quite sure Andrews is coming from this side running that route. We've got to throw to the backside X more. I don't care if it's Bateman, Demarcus Robinson. We just have to. Draw play to Dobbins. Hopefully you guys watched the video I put out earlier this week. Our draw play is a little predictable. I'm not trying to burst bubbles here or not give y'all hope. Our draw play is predictable. Pre-snap is predictable. Post-snap, it's predictable too because Ricard's popping up. There is no other play where Ricard pops up like that from that alignment. And then when we run the stretch, which we ran against the Jets one time, Ricard's feet will be a little wider. I don't know what you guys watch pre-snap. Well, first of all, the broadcast doesn't show you half the things we want to see anyway. So, maybe I should be glad that the broadcast is deficient from a tactical standpoint. Because then that's why hopefully fans come and try to watch, independent content creators like myself and other Ravens people. Ricard's popping up, but look, it's been a productive play for us. Justice Hill and JK have had some positive plays on this draw, so I'm glad we're running it. I'm glad it's there as an option for us. I just think under center, with two backs, we've got to throw the ball more. By my count, under center with two backs in the backfield, we're like 90% run. Under center with one back in the backfield, we're like 80% play action pass. You can't be that predictable. So look for that in the game here against the Bengals. I hope this isn't one of them plays that Baldy showed. It probably is. I'm gonna insert an ad here in a moment. YouTube keeps prompting me to insert an ad. We'll let some JK plays run through more. I love this, man. I don't know about you guys, but we went through so much as a Ravens fan base. I'll digress for a second. We went through so much as a Ravens fan base last year, having so many injuries that we're still dealing with, which is unbelievable. This was so cool to see this dude. He's a young guy, man. He's a young guy. To see him be able to go over there and dap up the fans. And I love that Bateman went over there with him. One thing that I've always noticed as a coach is when you celebrate for other players' success. We used to speak to our kids about that all the time. You tell us a little bit about you by the way you celebrate when someone else succeeds. If someone else scores a touchdown, makes a big catch, and you're not celebrating, you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. I love that he's going over here, and I love that Bateman's going with him. Them little things, some people would say they don't matter. That's usually haters talking like that. Charles, I agree. A play action draw off of that. This is a unique play that JK runs well because of his shiftiness. We got Duve going in motion to this side. And then we've got Ricard coming back over here, I think, to lead. And again, Lamar's opening to this side, so There's a little bit of a design flaw here. Flaw is the wrong word. Like normally if you're trying to fake the sweep, your quarterback isn't going to open opposite. You know what I mean? So, but we're doing this to get these guys hopefully moving in this direction a little bit so JK can then wind it back over here. So when I say design flaw, I just mean there's no possible way for Lamar to open in this direction and fake the sweep to Duvernay. So maybe this ball needs to be snapped either a touch earlier or actually this one's probably snapped perfect timing. Actually, I think that's perfect timing. But we can't fake the sweep to Duve while opening in the same direction that he's going. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're in agreement. 12 to 15 touches for JK is the formula. How many yards per carry do you think JK needs to average in that formula? I have my own opinion, but I'll be interested to hear y'all's. How many yards per carry do you think JK needs to average against the Bengals in a winning formula? Keeping in mind that their defense is very balanced, very sound, and they don't give a ton of big plays. 4? Charles, I was going to say 3.9 or more. so I'll say 4. I'll round for you. 4. All right, I like it. I'm going to insert an ad here. Just over 4? Yeah, so my thought process on that is that we don't need him to come in and do something spectacular and average 5.5 yards per carry. So we're all on board with that. That's the point. It's not like we need this unbelievable game by him to come in and win against this Bengals team, which, look, let's be honest, their defense is legit. It's legit. I want to show you guys maybe 8 or 10 defensive plays from last year. Excuse me, 8 or 10 offensive plays from last year, and I'm going to try to explain to you how intelligent and prepared I think this Bengals defense is. I mean, it's NFL players, right? A screen to J.K. Thomas, I love it. Okay, Malik. First of all, Malik, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. It's so cool. Like when I premiere videos at like 1 a.m., it's a certain group. And then when I do the live stream Saturday mornings, it's a different group. Jimmy Dean, what's up, man? Thank you. 4.5 yards per carry. Okay. Jonesy, totally agree. Out of them two-back formations, we can't be 90% run. And then when we go one back, so heavily play action oriented. Hopefully we get a win this week, and I can make a video illustrating what I'm talking about, which is when we're under center two back, we're running the ball. When we're under center one back, we're throwing the ball. Because if I make it next week and the Ravens lose to the Bengals, nobody's going to watch it anyway. Okay, JB, you say, yeah, that's not a bad point, JB. I would not have put it that way. Me personally, I don't know that I noticed that, but now that you say it, yeah, that sounds plausible. That sounds plausible. Jonesy, what a great point. That you think G-Row is trying to be deceptive instead of letting players make plays. Agree. All right, we're going to go to some film of the Bengals defense against us in Week 7. And don't tap out on me here because I know this is not fun. Christopher, what's up, man? Thank you for commenting. Chuck Avelli, thank you for commenting. Mitchell, what's up? All right, so this is how prepared the Bengals are. We're in 22 personnel. There's our 2 tight ends. There's our 2 running backs. This is the first play of the game. What kind of look are the Bengals giving us? They're playing like a 6-2. Now the way they're doing it is interesting. It's QB power read, first play of the game. You know, I don't think we block it well at all. You know, I think our line is way better this year, particularly pass pro. We kind of lose the DN, but it's a bad matchup for us. It's Tomlinson. All right, I want to address this before I talk about the blocking. Watch what the Bengals do when Andrews motions across. This is Von Bell. He's a safety. And that's 57. He's an inside linebacker. Currently, they have 2 stand-up ends, and they're in like a bear front, 3-0-3 with a D-line. Watch what they do when we get into 2 tight ends on one side, Tomlinson and Andrews. They're in a 6-2 right now. They have walked Von Bell up, and then they have walked an inside linebacker out. So basically, this inside linebacker, is that Pratt, 57? He's an underrated guy, man. They have walked him up, and him and Hendrickson are playing the stand-up ends, then Von Bell is in here playing inside linebacker. Why can they do that? Well, because we have 2 non-pass threats on the field, and they understand that Ricard is the key. So you guys are educated fans. You know that by now from watching, Sip Totale, Edgar Allen, all these other guys. So just give them credit for being prepared. We can't win this matchup. It's very few tight ends that are going to successfully down block NFL D tackle, because that's what that guy is. This is their D end. This is a D end. This right here and this right here are their D tackles. It's a bad matchup for us. So credit the Bengals for putting themselves in a look that makes it very difficult. Us personally, we would just go ahead and put this. We wouldn't put him in a 5. We'd put him in a 7 inside shade, and we put this guy in a 3. So we would just say, you're not going to down block us. Now, he does get the down block off here, and then the D tackle spins out of it, gets involved with the tackle. It's a great look, man. It's a great look. Got you, Charles. You played in a 6-2. Here is the, all right. Anybody want to serve as an admin? Because I didn't see this. Bye. All right, I tried to hide those messages. I don't know why people. I guess it's a good thing if somebody comes on and does that, right? That means that it's a lot of viewers. Anybody want to serve? Charles, are you an admin? I can't remember. I thought you were. If you are, let me know, man. If anybody else wants to serve as an admin, please let me know. So this is the very next play, guys. And I lost my point there for a second, but we're in the same formation, but it's 2nd and 8. Look at what the Bengals have done. They've taken out a D tackle, and they've put in another inside linebacker, 59. Okay? So they're just playing defense based on personnel, like Charles just kind of mentioned, and also down and distance. So they've basically created a 4-3 look. They are a base 3-4 team with Hubbard and Hendrickson being their outside linebackers, but they're very multiple. I mean, they can play a 4-3. They can play a 3-4. They can be whatever they want to be based on down and distance and personnel. No problem, Charles. I got it. Thank you. I just didn't know if I had made anybody. I thought I did you and Josh in terms of admins. So they're matching our personnel, but they're matching it based on down and distance. And the crazy thing is, we're not doing this enough this year, attacking backside with Bateman. Thank you, Malik. Appreciate it. I appreciate that, Malik. If you guys want to encourage people to like, go ahead. I'm done. Me personally, I'm done asking people to like it. Why aren't we doing this more this year? This is my point. And it's not a great out route by Bateman. It's not. It means, I think it needs to be more of a speed out, and I think that's what Lamar was expecting. I think we got some problems sometimes last year in his rookie year with Bateman running either the wrong route or running to the wrong place. I'm going to go through about 4 more plays. Micah, Malik, thank you for joining the stream. I'm going to go through about 4 more plays from last year. Then we're going to move on to Bengals defense. I'm sorry, excuse me, Bengals offense. All right, so this is a 3rd and 8. And I just don't know that we're going to get this stuff. I don't know that we're going to get a lot of man. Now you may say, well, coach, we don't have receivers to really threaten them at this point in time. I mean, you may be right. But all of our big plays against the pass this year that I remember have come against man. Look at what Chuck Avelli. I will be talking about our defense here in a moment. So I'm kind of separating this stream into our offense and then our defense. So, but look at all our big plays this year on 3rd down. They've come against man. Another thing that's available to us when we run man, or excuse me, when a team runs man, is this right here. I think, let me ask you this, and this might be, we may differ in opinion on this one. How many rushing yards do you think Lamar needs in our formula to win? And I'm talking about us playing well defensively. I'm not talking about us giving up 45 points or 38. I think the cap for us to win this game in terms of points is probably 31. I think, and if they get to 31, I'm not sure how we get to 34. Absent a defensive touchdown or special teams touchdown. You think 50, Jonesy? I think a little higher, but I can foresee that. One thing the Bengals don't like to do is they don't like to rotate the secondary. I've said this in many videos. They don't like to roll down, sky cover 3. They don't like to run a safety down on motion. They either don't respect it, number one, or they run an inside linebacker out to play it. Now, in this case, the rule is, whoever has the flat has the wheel. So Marquise Brown running a wheel, and the corner's got to get off, and he's got to go defend it. Possibility for us to complete this ball, obviously. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Jimmy Dean, 60, 50, 60, 75. I'd be okay with that. Let me shift that question a little bit for you guys. What if he ends up with 90 or 100? Now, I don't know how we get there. Well, excuse me, I do know how we get there. I think I know how we get there. All right? I don't want to sound arrogant. I think I know how we get there. Remember, some of you guys weren't here for the beginning of the stream. How we get there is we go against our tendencies in terms of running the ball. We go against our tendencies, and we get him a seam that we haven't been able to create, on some of this stuff. Now, this is a give to Le'Veon Bell. Don't get triggered by this one. And we don't block the mic, but credit the Bengals for their defensive alignment here. When you get to end zone angles, you're going to see what they do in terms of their alignment. They dramatically shift over. When this tight end motions across, it's 22 personnel, by the way. Again, I have the data off screen. You can't see it. Look, this is the mic. He's lined up in we would call that a 40-eye. Kids just call it a 30. A little wider. But they're dramatically they're treating this like trips is what they're doing. So they're treating Ricard like he's a third receiver in terms of alignment. So 1, Bateman. 2, I think that's Oliver. They're treating this like trips. The will is stepping out. And they're just creating angles that we can't handle. Now, I think we've got a problem with Ricard and Oliver. One of them needs to block the mic. One of them needs to block the will. And then we've got a good play. Oh, Jimmy Dean, the Bengals did a great job last year. Thomas, thank you for commenting. That'll be wonderful, Thomas. That'll be wonderful. What we were discussing, for some of you guys that just joined, is we were talking at each element that we're covering, at each segment, we're talking about how many yards does Lamar need of rushing? How many touches does J.K. need? How many catches does Likely need? Was there another one that I missed, guys? We haven't even talked about our defense yet, and we're 40 minutes in. So for Lamar, for rushing, most of us, the consensus is we need between 50 and 75 yards rushing from him. I kind of shifted it a little bit into saying to you, with Bateman being out, with Hill being out, I wonder if part of the Ravens' plan isn't to go against tendencies for certain runs with Lamar and have that be part of the focus. Okay, let me cover a couple more things about their defense. And just to give you some prep, this is number 33 here, and I always forget his name. I think it's Sanders, but now that I say it, I don't think it is. When they bring him on, they're typically playing man, and that tendency still holds for 2022. When he's off, it's a little less man-focused, and he does a good job. In the AFC title game last year, he did a good job against Kelsey. I know Kelsey had some catches, don't get me wrong, especially early. He did a good job against Andrews last year. I think when you see, as a fan, you see 33 on the field, and he's lined up over Andrews, it's man. However, look at this. This certainly looks like a zone distribution and man inside of it. So watch how 33 reacts to Andrews. Okay, that's certainly man right there, right? But then watch the rest of these guys. You got Wilson lined up at the line of scrimmage. Looks like he's buzzing the flat. And I think the safety's inserting down. I think the Bengals believe that they can get picks on Lamar. I think that's what they believe. They believe that they can play certain coverages that kind of mix up the read, and they can get us. I don't know if they necessarily believe that is specific to Lamar. I think because they do that a lot anyway. So they do that against a lot of teams. There are a lot more multiple in coverage this year. This is a pre-snap indicator for you that you're generally going to get man. Having said that, this is an example of them playing man inside zone, which is a cool concept. It really just looks like cover 3, for real. But it's a slightly different variation of it. Yeah, our pass rush has really been struggling. Oh, Bulamatari, no, no, that's a great point. The Bengals have had 10 days to prepare. No, no, that's a fantastic point. You know, they played on that Thursday night game against the Dolphins. All right, so I have talked about the option. I've talked about the defense last year that they played against us. I'm going to transition this. All right, so it's going to take me a second to load up this other film. I'm going to move this to things that the people are playing against the Bengals offense. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to finish this stream. It's going to be close. All right, let's go. Let's go with some Bengals offense film and some historical trends for them. One of the things that is, I know this is a very abrupt transition. I might run out of time. So this is a very abrupt transition, but one of the things they love is they love empty. And they murdered us in empty last year. They absolutely took us to school. We did not have the horses to defend them, and we called some bad coverages. And you're not going to like the next 3 to 4 minutes, probably. You know, we can say whatever we want about Patrick Queen and the angle he takes here. Okay, there is some clear miscommunication going on. We got a safety rolling over the top. Why? Because they got Chase and Higgins backside here. They got Chase and Higgins. So over here to the front side, we got 3-on-3. That's not good for us. It's not. And you're going to be like, Coach, why are you forward past this? Because I'm probably going to get hit by Baldy for that one. This is an empty formation, week 2 against the Dolphins at home. This is Patrick Queen. Watch what this safety does. And then watch the route that Jalen Waddle runs. People went off talking about, like, oh, it was a cool route by him. Oh, it's a difficult cover by Queen. He shouldn't be asked to cover him. We're still playing some of these BS coverages that put Queen at risk. This is not Queen's fault. If you're one of those people who's like, Patrick Queen sucks in coverage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, yeah, there's some times where he's inconsistent. He shouldn't be asked to play this. Now, he's playing it wrong. All right? An out route is not his job to defend. He's got outside leverage help. But I'm not faulting Patrick Queen for this. What I'm saying is other teams look at our coverages, even from 2021, and then they put us in similar situations, and they take advantage of us because we play the same coverages. I'm not sure that I'm explaining this well, so if I'm not, please tell me. Empty formation, 3 receivers to the offense's right. Look at the route by Boyd. He breaks out. Queen breaks with him, and then he runs it up the seam. Why is that seam open? Because we're accounting backside for their 2 great receivers. Awesome. You know, they have 2 great receivers, Chase and Higgins, and Boyd's pretty damn good too. Here's an idea. The next time they line up in empty, why don't somebody get hands on this guy? I mean, we've got an outside line. I know what you're going to say is, well, we've got to get in on the pass rush. We got to get on a pass rush. We got to get on a pass rush. Ray used to say this all the time. How do they play when people put hands on them? In my opinion, and I'm not nowhere experienced like NFL guys, you give me a receiver. I'm talking about Chase, talking about Higgins, talking about Boyd. You give me a receiver within 4 yards of an offensive tackle, we're putting hands on him. And I don't mean trying to knock him out of the game. I mean the outside linebacker, put hands on him, try to funnel him inside to Queen. He could still run this route. He could still run this route, but it's going to be a longer amount of time to do so. In my opinion, we're still doing some of the same stuff we did last year. We're not putting hands on people when we have an opportunity to do so. The NFL doesn't want you to put hands on people. The NFL doesn't want you to contact receivers because that's why they have the BS 5-yard rule. All right? My point in saying this is this ain't Patrick Queen's fault. Patrick Queen's not playing it well, but it's not a sound coverage versus 3 receivers to the defense's left, offense's right. Look how close Justin Houston is to these guys. There's no reason we can't put hands on him and then delay rush. We're not getting there anyway. We might as well delay the receivers a little bit and make their day be a little less enjoyable. Free releases against this Bengals team is a no-no. I'm talking about 4 or 5 releases on every play is a no-no. That's one thing that I'd like to say. I think I've belabored this point. Let's just I'm gonna let this play and go through some empty stuff. The Bengals love empty. Against empty, you cannot play man. They're going to stretch you horizontally. So horizontally means, the width of the field. And then they're also going to try to stretch you vertically, but they're going to do it in certain places. They're going to do it up the seams, and they're going to do it outside release fades, or back shoulder fades. Hopefully the Ravens have done a lot of their homework, and they had to do a lot of coverage shifts and adjustments this week. Forgive the rant there, but I feel passionate about not putting guys like, no, Thomas, no, I wasn't jumping on you. I wasn't, so forgive me if I sounded like that. I'm passionate about young people as a teacher and an educator, and I'm passionate about not putting them in bad situations. And there I just showed you guys the same coverage being played in 2022 as the same coverage in 2021 that got abused. Yeah, Mark B. No. I mean, there's things that Queen needs to improve on. There is no doubt about that. But look at what the Bengals are doing at empty. Let's start from the middle. Joe Burrow is an athletic guy. He can escape pressure. He's done that before. In the AFC title game last year, he had 3 times on one drive, I think, where he escaped pressure and scrambled for yards. So let's respect him. He can do that. But let's start from there. They're not going to run QB draw, right? They're not going to run a guy in motion and run the jet sweep out here. This is a pass formation. Let's understand that. And the threat is horizontal, and the threat is vertical. I know these arrows are crappy drawings. Those are your threats in terms of the big plays. There's going to be other routes that are going to hit us. They'll run a snag and a wheel. Don't get me wrong. But we cannot allow ourselves to get out leveraged horizontally. And I'm going to show you the Bills play in a moment. There's people who disagree with me, and that's fine. There's people who say, well, it was a situational call. I understand that. But we played the same call in the third quarter. Juice Man, I don't know. I don't know, Juice Man. I don't think so, but that's a great question. Slim, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like we talked about the Ravens offense earlier. I'm trying to stay focused on this, so forgive me for ignoring your comment. If you want to put it in the comment section after the video posts up, Slim, go right ahead. I'm just not going to address Ravens offense questions now because we've kind of moved on from there. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just telling you that there's a progression for this. I was trying to get out of here by 11:15, but it's probably not going to happen. Look where they're attacking. This is a running back. This is 2021 film. And they're attacking outside the bottom of the numbers near the sideline. It's not a back shoulder fade. He's just beat, right? It's a linebacker, I think, on a running back. So tough matchup for them in terms of the Lions' defensive guys. Thomas, you are absolutely right. We've been spoiled, and we now are seeing what other teams have to deal with sometimes in terms of inside linebacker play. No doubt. I kind of stand up for Patrick Queen, or I try to, even when I feel like he's not playing well. Because I believe in young people and their ability to improve if they dedicate themselves to something. I just don't feel like putting them in bad positions, though, allows them to do that consistently. I'm not saying that that's all of Patrick Queen's issues. There's other issues involved, but me personally, I want to take up for him. All right, so you got it out. This is later on in the season, all right, or later on in the game, sorry. And Jamar Chase running up the right sideline. We're trying to play this like cover 2 to one side, not to the other side necessarily. The late drag to T. Higgins is wide open. And Chase makes a great catch, and Chuck punishes him. That's football. We have to do that. We have to do that. We have to, even if we get a penalty, if you give us an opportunity to be physical, we have to take it. I'm not talking about trying to go helmet to helmet and trying to take people out of the game. Those are phrases that weren't even used 20 years ago anyway because people weren't as soft as they've been conditioned to be now. If we get opportunities to hit their receivers while they're trying to make a play, we have to take them. And if it's a penalty, so be it. Josh, you're a trip. All right, so some of the things we can't do. We cannot bring so much heat. Oh, we're trying to play cover 2 here, by the way. We're trying to play cover 2 with the corner. We're trying to funnel Chase in and then play this deep half technique. It's trips to the other side, and you end up with this huge open space in there. Basically between the hash and the numbers late, Burrow does a good job of escaping pressure. In my opinion, We had the wrong mentality last year in that game. When we were bringing pressure and bringing slot blitzes, it just wasn't working. And you didn't need a whole lot of evidence to show you it wasn't going to work. It's not going to work this year either. In my opinion, if we're bringing 5, we're losing this game. Now then you may counter and say, well, then, Coach, we're not going to get pressure. That is entirely possible. You may need to accept the fact we may not get pressure. These things here are unconscionable. This was a source of frustration for me last year. This is Jamar Chase. He's in the slot, which means he's close to the quarterback. We're bringing a slot blitz. He's just wide open. Guys, we did this 4 times last year in the game at Cincinnati. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this week 13? No, it wasn't week 13. What week was it we went up to Cincinnati? 14? 15? We are giving way too much space to a guy, Jamar Chase, who by that time had demonstrated he was a baller. This was unconscionable. And you're like, what's the point of this? It's 2021. We did this last week against the Bills. Like, tell me we didn't do this last week against the Bills. So I know I'm not instilling confidence in you at all, but this frustrates me. This is Jamar Chase. There's a slot later on in that. Actually, this might be the very next play or 2 plays later. Slot blitz, Jamar Chase underneath. There's certain blitzes that just need to be put in the bag and not brought out this week. We probably are looking at a vanilla defensive game plan, and teams have kind of showed us the blueprint. I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to kind of move forward a little bit into showing you what teams. The league thinks they have an answer. I'm going to have to show these 2 plays. And I think Baldy showed these, so this video is going to get demonetized, and I'll have to edit it. But I feel like I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't show you. So you got empty. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. This is unconscionable. This is not 4th quarter with 2 minutes left. This is not where we're trying to let them score and make a big play so we get the ball back. Easy, absolutely, they do. This is not a situation where this is sound. This is unsound. From a spatial standpoint, I think it was Frank or somebody else in our Discord was saying, from a spatial standpoint, we're creating too much space for the offense here, and we don't have enough players. If you had a linebacker whose feet were here and he was playing at depth, he's going to become an inside-out pursuer. We don't have that. You know why? Because we're blitzing both of them for some reason. I guess people, forgive me if I'm ranting and criticizing our team too much, but we did this 3 times in this game, and we did the same thing last year. A similar concept last year against the Bengals, and we got rocked on it. So if you see this slot blitz, possibly a block in the back there on Josh Bynes, not sure. It might have been from the side. Not sure. It's close. Now look, he got in front of the shoulder. It's a good block. If you see us blitzing at them at an empty, we're going to have issues holding them down for real. All right, let me transition here to what teams are doing this year, because I'm guessing people don't like some of the commentary. That's no problem. I'm just telling you, some of the things we have done against empty has not been respective of the talent level that the Bengals have. They have talent that is difficult to match up with. And here's the answer that the league thinks they have. Am I saying that this is what we need to do every snap? No. But I hope that we have been practicing Tampa 2. So I'm going to let some of these plays run against the Dolphins. I have no idea how many of these have been used in NFL breakdown films, but they're playing a lot of Tampa 2. If you're unsure of what Tampa 2 is, one indicator, kind of giveaway to this Tampa 2 is you got a Mike linebacker running between the hashes normally. Some people call it the pipe. So he's running underneath of a vertical. He's trying to make the quarterback, throw it over the top of him. I can't draw a proper trajectory for that ball, which would then allow the safeties to recover and make a play on the football. You'll get multiple examples of this. The Dolphins, the Steelers. Thomas, thank you for joining. Juice Man. First of all, Juice Man, is your name because you're a Marcus Peters fan? If so, a high five, man. Somebody who I really like and I really respect had some problems with Marcus Peters' behavior last week. And I think I kind of surprised him with something I said. I said, man, I just disagree with you. You don't need one Marcus Peters on your team. You don't need 10. You need 30. Like, if you have 30 people that are willing to stand there and call, the truth, call a lie, and call the truth, that's what you need, even though people don't like it. The area that I coached in, our team had 30 Marcus Peters. And it made for some difficult moments a few times, don't get me wrong, but loved it. Nothing made me happier than to walk into a stadium with 30 people of the same mentality as me, and I feel confident about it. My skin's tingling telling you about it right now because of the types of kids we had, and Marcus Peters reminds me of those kids. All right, so another Tampa 2, but a really weird one. You do have the mic running the pipe here, but the safeties are at an irregular depth. So when I say the safeties, they're making it look like one high, and then this guy's going to get some depth. But he's only got one receiver to deal with. There's a little bit more that I could break down from this play, but just so you know, this is a Tampa 2. The distribution of it doesn't look great, but this is a Tampa 2. Even though these two safeties are different depths, the reason they are different depths is because you got two receivers down here, and this is the safety. Hayden Hurst disappears. He goes to the other side. So at the point that he disappears, that safety only has one guy to deal with. He's just got to match his depth. That's it, period. Blackula, I have wondered the same thing. Is it people that do we not have the ability to check out of these looks? Now, the Jets didn't play Tampa 2, but they played a lot of 2. This is an illustration of it. And they gave up one touchdown on playing 2 when Ahmad Gardner was caught kind of in no man's land. I don't know if I'm going to show you that one because I'm pretty sure that was used by a breakdown by NFL Films, but look at the distribution of it. You have a half-field safety. And look, I'm not saying like, hey, all we got to do is play cover 2 and we can shut them down. No, it's not that easy. But you definitely have, a cover 2 distribution. H means hook, okay? M means your Mike. He's in between the hash. The corners are flat players, and then you have your half-field safeties. Is it going to stop the Bengals and everything they do? No. They're going to adjust. They put Jamar Chase in the backfield here, and then they just throw a little hitch to him, or a little stop. I love what Marcus Peters did. You need people like that. You need people like that in the world. You need people like that on football teams. You need people like that in businesses that are just going to call a spade a spade. Jamar Chase running the drag here. And this is like, I think it was Easy earlier said they do this a lot. Eric, what's up, man? Oh, Eric, you got to give me a second on that. I'll try to find it. Juice Man, I might have a picture for you here in a minute. I may run out of time abruptly, guys, just so you know. But if you ask me, this is another cover 2, even though this corner doesn't look like it, okay, off the snap. Watch him follow Chase. So he's going to follow Chase on the drag, and then he realizes, oh, this is cover 2. I need to get back to my position. Guys, this happens a lot. I'm going to defend NFL players because a lot of times their coaches call too many coverages. They just call too many coverages, and in the instant the ball is snapped, a player needs to remember or have in his brain. Thomas, by the way, thank you for joining the channel. I really appreciate that. It it helps me justify to my wife the time that I spend on making films for y'all. So in the moment after the ball snap, the DB has to remember or recall, what coverage are we in? How do I play that coverage? While he's dealing with a guy like Jamar Chase, do you know how difficult that is if you play like 6 or 8 different coverages? There's teams that play too many coverages, and I have friends of mine who don't like me saying that. Like, you've got to be able to play multiple coverages. Yes, you do. But you got to put your players in a position where they can recognize those coverages easily. This is a cover 2 distribution on 3rd down, even though it doesn't look like it. You definitely have a tightening up of this safety. Why? Because Chase ran the drag. That's the point. That's the point of playing it. It's a read. If Chase ran a vertical, the safety would run with him. It's a half-field concept. Chase disappears, look for work. Look for another threat. Usually going to be 3 on a vertical. Do the Ravens have the personnel to play this? Well, Marcus Williams certainly can. I think Chuck Clark can if he'll read the player's release. If he's reading the quarterback, as soon as Chuck starts reading the quarterback, I feel like his effectiveness goes down. Here's one of the things that a Tampa 2 can do if you try to throw it up the seam. You can collision the guy, with the safety and the Mike line. Look, Leighton Vander Esch did not play this bad at all for the Cowboys. I got about 20 pass plays from that game. My estimation is the Cowboys were probably in Tampa 2, at least 6 or 8 of those plays, maybe more. There has to be a reason why so many teams are playing a Tampa 2. That doesn't mean that we have to do it. It just means we might want to take a serious look at it. Now, what is the problem? And you'll see this. I think I'll show you this in a little while. The number one receiver running something in here, in between the top of the numbers and the hash, what I call the hook area. What it does is it would stress this guy. We tried it twice last year, and Patrick Queen both times ended up, going for the run fake here and opening this area up, not for the tight end, but for the number one receiver to kind of hook up. I may have showed you guys that play earlier. I don't know. I spent like 2 hours last night prepping this stream and watched some of the plays so many times. My brain may be remembering 1:30 a.m. last night and not 11 a.m. this morning. All right, so that's the Tampa 2. I'm going to let some plays run of it. And just so you guys can see, it's a consistent theme used against this offense. Does it mean that we'll shut them down? No. I know I already said that earlier, but as people joining the stream, Josh, are you able to boot that person? Or I don't know if that works. I'm trying to get rid of that. That's a good thing, I guess, right? If somebody's joining and doing that stuff, it means that there's a lot of people in the stream, so they're trying to show you all some adult dating site stuff. Maybe they know something I don't. Another cover 2. This time there's no vertical, and you got a misplay by this hook defender. He's gotten sucked too far in, and then this little quick out, a little sit, is available to Jamar Chase. We have to have awareness of where Jamar Chase is. It doesn't mean that playing the cover 2 is going to stop everything they do. I think the league just believes that it puts them in the best position. This is the third time I have seen a corner do this, so this is clearly a taught technique out of cover 2. Watch what, I think this is Diggs, number 7. Watch him turn his back, making it look like man. That looks like man, but then he understands this is not man, this is cover 2. So he's going to turn back around and get in his flat. This is an interesting thing that I want to note for you guys. Do I think we're going to play the Tampa 2? Yeah. I would say we'll play it at least 5 times. I think we showed Tampa 2 early, so the Bengals think we're going to be in it a lot. And that one of the elements of it that I remember, I forget who the corner was for the Bucs when they won the Super Bowl in the early 2000s. It was a corner. He's like 6'3", and he had a lot of pick sixes. I'm not sure that he was a great cover corner, but he was a great cover 2 corner. And he would do this a lot. He would turn his back, make the quarterback think it was man, and then he would curl back. And anything that was an out-breaking route, he would jump it and take it to the house. It must have happened 6 times over like a 3-year period. All right, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. All right, so I think this is an illustration of them not playing Tampa 2. No, I showed you this one just because of how great a catch it is. My God. This guy's unbelievable. People say, the Ravens need to draft receivers. Yeah, we do in some cases, but there ain't a Jamar Chase in the draft every year. It just ain't. That guy is not available every single year. Special talent. Unfortunately, we got to go against him twice a year. Not a Tampa 2. This is man. And Chase just going to do this sometimes if you leave him in man. Who do you guys think we should put on him if we play man? Who do you think we should put on Chase if we play man? Like they are here. The Dolphins are very aggressive defensively, and I think some of the things they do put their guys in bad positions. Wasn't this a Thursday night game? I think this was the Thursday night game that Richard Sherman commented hey, they're putting these guys in bad positions, and they're not supporting them. I think we should be, a corner here and then, roll the safety over the top. I almost kind of think Humphrey should guard Higgins, somebody else should guard Chase, and then roll a safety over the top. I'm not saying we should do that every play, but Marlon wants to get back at him. Okay. I think he's playing great, and I'll go if the Marlon Humphrey ship goes down, I'm going down with it. I trust the dude and believe in him. I love his intensity. These are some examples of man and them going up top. If you show man, this is what Burrow's going to do. He's going to go up top, outside the bottom of the numbers. I think he's looking at the safety. Okay, is that safety rolling here? If he's rolling here, then I'll go back somewhere else. He's not. Let me go up top to my guy. This is not a real great scheme. This is just having guys to match up with, and let's go. Do y'all think Peters or Humphrey's going to make a play this game? You think either one of them is going to make a play like the quintessential Ravens early pick six or something like that? I think the only way that we do that is if we're switching coverages, and we got to kind of betray some of the tendencies that our defense has shown so far. A great job of manipulating what they thought was going to be cover two, if you ask me. Running the number 2 receiver like this, forcing the safety to go with him, and then isolating Ahmad Gardner on him. You guys know how highly I think of Ahmad Gardner, but he did have some troubles in that game. Totally agree, Malik. Totally agree. Just don't think any one person can guard him. Absolutely agree. Under no circumstances would I want to have, Marlon just on him and nobody helping out. Gardner does a great job here, but Gardner's got length, and Gardner's also willing to make contact with people. He don't care. He kind of doesn't care if he gets called for penalties, man. I love Ahmad Gardner's mentality. In my opinion, he's like a Raven. We'll probably be done here in about 10 minutes. I really appreciate you guys joining the stream and watching. The views have been real down this week for content. I guess that makes sense because we lost. I'm going to insert an ad here just so you know. The views have been down because we lost, so we need to win. We clearly need to win. These are some repetitive plays. Let me load up one more playlist if you guys are interested. Would you guys rather see Ravens coverages or some of their pass pro? If you want to feel a little bit positive, if you want to leave on a good foot, if you want to leave on a good note, there's a lot of instances of them having trouble pass proing. The problem is, we don't have Micah Parsons. We don't have that guy. We don't even have, who's it? Is it 90? I can't remember the guy's name, 90 for them. The level of pass rusher we have right now with Houston out. Bowser's not a great pass rusher either in terms of being a 10, 12 sack per season guy. But my point in showing you this from only end zone angle footage is there's a lot of different guys who have gotten to the quarterback so far this year against the Bengals. There's a lot of different players, defensive ends, defensive tackles. They've had trouble protecting Burrow since his rookie year. Do I think we're going to get 4 or 5 sacks? No, I don't. I think what's the formula for us to win? All right, I'll go to the Ravens coverages. Yeah, Christopher, no problem. I'll be there in a second. Thank you, guys. Dawson, thank you. Yeah, I'll go to the coverages. What's the formula for us to win in terms of sacks? I would say it's 2 sacks and maybe a couple of tipped balls. I love that, Xavier. I love it. Bend but don't break. I agree. DeMarcus. Okay, that's who that was. I couldn't remember. I thought it was DeMarcus Lawrence. Lawrence, right? DeMarcus Lawrence. There's a lot of different guys that are getting to the quarterback. There's a lot of different guys. It's not like they have a horrible offensive line. They do not. They do not at all. They've improved the offensive line, rightfully so. Give them credit for addressing a need. It still looks like it's a problem. Oh, Highsmith is a stud. Highsmith is a monster. I'm glad he didn't get hurt on this play. Him and Watt slammed down the line of scrimmage. Looks like Watt's shoulder, I think, runs into Highsmith's knee. 2 sacks. I'm down with you, Malik. I'm with you. Yeah, I think we got to play coverages to force Burrow to hold the ball, try to figure out what the coverage is, and then we can get to him. I just don't think we get to Burrow on regular timing. If we play the same coverages he's seen on film, he gets rid of the ball quick. We've got to show him coverages that he's not expecting. And that, to me, might mean a lot of Tampa, too. The Ravens had to put in a tough week. Excuse me. The Ravens had to put in a lot of work this week to play the Tampa 2 because that's not what I don't remember us playing a lot of Tampa 2 this year. Do you all? The only time we played Tampa 2 or any kind of cover 2 under Wink Martindale was on the ball was like the other team was like on our 20-yard line. That's it. We didn't play a lot of Tampa 2 or cover 2. All right, let me load up the Ravens coverages. I was trying to, I love that, Mitchell. Be extremely physical. Penalties early. Love it. Love it. We would tell our guys sometimes, like, hey, if you get a 15-yarder early or a 5-yarder early, that's okay with me. That's on me as a coach because I told you to do it. Got to be physical. Got to set a. We got to let them know that this is the same Ravens team that it's been for decades. This is not 2021. We do have, we do have still issues coverage-wise, which I'll show you here, and this will be it. We do have issues coverage-wise. So some of those same dynamics from last year is still in place. Hopefully you guys got the film coming up. 3 fast quarterbacks the last 3 weeks. Ooh, Josh, underrated point there. Oweh will catch Burrow easily. Sacks for 1.5 sacks. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Jones, if it seems like they've been struggling with the Tampa 2. It really seems like they have. Meaning the Bengals. Seems like it's something that's kind of caught them off guard. I know that there's a lot of Bengals fans that have been kind of frustrated. Look, this is a real giveaway for us. When Queen is lined up in this apex position, Burrow's going to know something's up coverage-wise. Look where Queen is. He's lined up between the number 2 and the tackle. That's apex for us, okay? He will know that this is some type of zone. This is not man. This is cover 2. And the thing that I love about this is I want Marcus Peters to be playing that cover 2 corner. Look how he's doing this. I don't know what he's doing with his arm. You see Peters waving his arm? Almost getting a pick. Let's hope for a second that Burrow's not ready for us to play some cover 2. He throws something like this and Peters jumps it, takes it to the house early. That'd be amazing. Queen will time up a few blitzes. I would love that. Yeah, Oweh, for having such a poor start to the season in a lot of ways, like he's got a lot of hurries, so he's been there. Doesn't have as many sacks as we would like. Gonna move past that one. They showed that on Baldy's breakdowns. That's clearly not a Ravens coverage. My bad. All right, the rest should be Ravens coverages. Yeah, Christopher, awesome break on the ball by Peters. I don't think we are. I'm not sure that we are going to be as effective playing man against this team. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't feel like we're great in zone coverage-wise. I don't. But in my opinion, we can't bring this much pressure. This is a 5-man blitz. And then really just open up, anything within this area that's completed is going to get yards because of the coverages we're playing. I'm not sure how we play man against this team consistently and don't give up yards after the catch, which, we got to try to avoid. It's a pretty good job by Queen, if you ask me. Here, he's relating to the receiver on the inside hip. So he's not overrunning this thing, and letting the receiver cross his face, which would be a very rudimentary mistake. He's not running so flat that then the guy can get in behind him. Hopefully that makes sense. He seems to be pretty balanced doing this, and he's doing this from the line of scrimmage. The problem is we're dropping Oweh, and I don't think Oweh's good at this. I suspect that the reason we signed Klein is so that Klein can do this that Oweh's doing right here. And I don't know a whole lot about Klein, but I've been told he's a hybrid inside linebacker, outside linebacker, kind of like, was it Vince Beagle that we signed? And I wonder if we're not signing him to let him play, quote, the Sam, so that Klein guy who appears to get, I watched like 15 plays of him. He appears to take pretty good pass drops when he's playing inside linebacker, dropping out at this angle. I wonder if we're going to play him at Sam and drop him out some, and then Oweh will be on the other side, kind of freed up to rush. I'm not a big fan of this rush, bringing an inside linebacker from the field, dropping Oweh to the boundary. If we do this, as crazy as it sounds, I don't even know Klein. I would rather do it with him. Seems like he's got more experience doing that than Oweh does. Xavier, I would agree with you. I say to you, we may not be a blitzing team right now. That could change as the season goes on. But we just may not be a blitzing team. We may be a softer coverage team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To me, this looks like an example of cover two. You got two high safeties. All eyes are on the quarterback. Not Bynes. Bynes is breaking on the ball. We may need to play this. We may need to play this and just hope that we get there. This is not a bad rush by Oweh. Oweh's up at the top. I think they actually gave him a pressure for this one. I don't know that counts as a pressure for me. Maybe those rating services count that as a win. That certainly looks like a win to me because he gets to the quarterback. But I wouldn't say that's a pressure. But in my opinion, this might be the type of defense that we need to play against this team. And I'll digress here for a moment. Totally agree, F. Irsay. Oweh put his hand in the dirt, get after the quarterback. Totally agree. Absolutely. Last year, not to bring up old stuff constantly, we never identified the threat that other teams you defend personnel first. You defend the situation. You defend the game situation. You defend down and distance. You have to respect personnel. And I'm just going to say it. This is a Wink thing. This is a Harbaugh thing. It may even be a McDonald thing. I don't know about that, but I kind of suspect. It looks like last year we didn't respect the personnel. And I'm going to go back even further than that. 2019, wild card week. The Titans go up there and they demolish the Patriots with the run game. On film, you had film of them successfully blocking certain fronts, certain looks that the Patriots gave them. The next week, we lined up in the same looks, and the Titans did the same thing to us. It was a lack of respect for what they were able to execute. And that's the same thing we did to the Bengals last year in Week 7. We did not respect the ability level and the talent and explosiveness they had shown on film. If McDonald does that this week and plays some of those same coverages Wink played and some of the same coverages he played against the Bills, I'm off the McDonald train completely. Like completely. Am I saying he needs to do this? I'm going to pause this. I'm going to leave it here. I like to kind of push myself out there, go on a limb. If we do these types of coverages and we execute our responsibility, we're putting our players in position to not give up big plays. First, and then simultaneous, hopefully we're putting them in position with eyes on the quarterback and eyes on our receivers and our peripheral vision, or periphery, as Cat Williams calls it. Then our guys can make plays too on thrown balls. And that's what we need. We're not going to make plays on thrown balls when playing man. At least I haven't seen evidence of it. Have you? Have you seen evidence of us making plays in man on the football? Besides Marcus Williams. I'm sorry if I kind of switched gears multiple times, but I think that we got to make an adjustment scheme-wise. And this right here may not work this week against this team. This may not work this week against this team because they have so much talent at receiver. If we're gonna do this, in my opinion, y'all are not gonna agree with me. If we play man against this team, I think the matchup that determines the game is Chuck Clark or Kyle Hamilton on Hayden Hurst. Because if those guys can check him man-to-man, meaning one-on-one, then we can help on Jamar Chase and we can help on T. Higgins. If we can just leave them alone and then guard Boyd man-to-man with somebody else. I don't know who that is, though. Let's just do a man thing, on the tight end. And if you guys don't like this, forgive me. On the tight end, if those two guys can check the tight end man-to-man, that is a huge asset for us. And then what's Boyd, 83? Is Boyd number 83 for them? I think he is. I don't know who guards him. This is very off the cuff. I did not plan on doing this, so if it's not quality and y'all don't like it, then I'm sorry for that. Let's say is Stevens 21? Is Stevens 21? And I guess we do this. right? Hopefully I got our players' numbers right. And then we got safety help over the top as best we can. If we're playing man. I'm not saying that we should do this all game. This is how we win the game. This is going to work. I'm just saying to Marlowe on Hig. Hey, Dawson, I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with that as well. That's fine with me. In my opinion, this is gonna sound dumb because this guy's special, and this guy's special a lot of times too. But in my opinion, this is why I did a Hayden Hurst video last night. If we can stop him and take him out of the game completely with Chuck Clark or Hamilton, it makes it easier to defend these two guys down here because now we can use safety help. So that's a very simplistic view, and I know I did a lot of drawing on the screen, so it probably looks very unattractive. I think that if we're going to play man, those are probably our matchups, I guess. Would you say it's a different matchup here, though? Like, would you say we should be matching up differently with Boyd? Maybe Pepe, right? Maybe Pepe, but I feel like Boyd is kind of big. Maybe Pepe's in and Pepe plays on Chase with safety help over the top. And then maybe we put Marlowe on 85 and Peters on 83. But 83 spends so much time in the slot. He spends a lot of time in the slot. And if we play, well, yeah, somebody just touched on it there. Taurus, you just touched on it. First of all, thank you. Or Juice Man. If we go a lot of man, then they're going to go bunch. And then we've got to be able to adjust and play zone out of the bunch. It's not as simple as we can just lock up man. We're now talking when we play man. How are we going to match up? Agreed, Christopher. Great point. I mean, I agree with that, Josh. If we're going to double Chase and double Higgins, maybe we put Peters or Humphrey on him in certain situations. But the problem with Peters on Boyd is that Boyd spends so much time in the slot, and I want Peters on an outside player. I don't want Peters on a slot. Me personally, how do you guys feel about that? I want him defending more space. Stevens or Pepe, in my opinion, needs to be in the or Marlon, needs to be in the slot. So we're getting a little bit off track here from what my intentions were. Forgive me for that. Give me a second. I'm going to close the stream up. I really appreciate you guys joining, and supporting. If there's a way that you would prefer me to do the stream differently, or something that something you'd like to see differently next time, let me know. I love to take requests for videos and give Ravens fans what they're looking for. I try to do a lot of content on other teams too because I want to get this channel as many subscribers as possible. But this is a Ravens channel. That's what it's going to be, until the end. Dawson agree. Stevens will see Boyd a bunch if he plays in the slot. Totally agree. By the way, it's a badass graphic that somebody made for me. When the time comes that I can reveal to you who that person is, I will. I'm incredibly grateful and thankful. Not sure if he's still listening, but really, really thankful and grateful because it has helped. It has helped the channel gain more attention and more views because of the graphics improvements. So beyond grateful. Jones break down a Ravens win. Okay, all right. I'm gonna put that out there. Jones, we're gonna be breaking down a Ravens win. All right. 48 hours from now, maybe 49 hours from now, right? Something like that. Juice Man, if you joined late, go back and watch the beginning because we kind of covered Likely's impact. I can't remember when you joined, but I remember seeing your name for a while. Yeah, Jones, he's killing it. Like the dude is ridiculous. I can say, hey, I need this. An hour later, I've got an incredible graphic like this. That's just, it's a blessing. The way I look at the world is God's blessing me and this channel with, trying to create content, and this is a huge part of it. So, yeah, do y'all think Ray's coming out for this game? Do y'all think he's coming out for this game? Josh, you seem to be one of them. Oh my God, Harbs as Vader, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Yeah, Juice, go back and watch the beginning. I think that'll be in there probably about the 10-15 minute mark, somewhere around there. I'm not good yet with time stamping my videos. I need to do that. I need to do that. Nelly's playing at halftime. Yeah, Ray's coming out. I want to see Ray do the dance and then put a helmet on. Not play, obviously. I want to see Ray do the dance and then put a helmet on. So it's an important game for us, but don't be so locked in that we got to win, otherwise this season's over. Uh, it's an important game. 2-3 with this stretch would not be great at all. Oh, Prime Ray on this team, insanity. F. Ursay, you really like my take on the adjustments the coaches should be making? Do you mean during the game, Ursay, or do you mean overall? Because I kind of feel like I covered that a little bit, but I know this is a long video. We're talking about an hour and a half stream, so maybe I didn't cover it to the focus that you are asking about. So once the video posts up here in about 5 minutes, Ursay, can you just put that in the chat? I think they are, Jones. I think Jimmy I think something's gonna be said about Jimmy before game or at halftime. Hey man, you would take a prime Jimmy Smith on this team, right? No problem, Ursay. Appreciate it. Thank you. Stu, what's up, man? I didn't see you comment a lot, but yeah, they haven't won a home game in a while. We need a home win. It's definitely a possibility. But hey, this Bengals team is talented, and they've won 2 games in a row. Credit to them for kind of adjusting to the way that the league has played them. I think the Dolphins, in my opinion, missed a real opportunity in that Thursday night game. Of course, we know what happened to their quarterback, and I don't know if you know, but I hate Thursday night football. I think it puts players at risk. I think the NFL is it's a total dereliction of duty by the NFL for putting players in that position. And having said that, the Dolphins missed the opportunity by playing so much man with no help. They gave Chase and Higgins Higgins opportunities to make plays downfield for touchdowns, like that touchdown off the left sideline. And their coaches, in my opinion, didn't adjust well. All we got to do is get in, Ursay, in my opinion. All we got to do is find a way in, because the health of this team, we're all frustrated by Ronnie Stanley's situation. That's fine. I would like Ronnie Stanley available, week 10 onward. Now, that sounds insane because we're in week 5. But Ronnie Stanley being available in the playoffs, we got to get there. But this team at full capacity, full strength, with a hopefully learned, educated defensive staff, let me phrase it that way, is a handful. This team's a handful. We just got to get there. Stu, yeah, I agree. The Bengals, have been limited in terms of their run attack. Joe Mixon's got talent. I've done multiple videos on him in the past year and a half. I really like him, even though he plays for the Bengals. And guy hasn't got much going yet. Certainly don't want this to be his breakout game. I mean, Ursay, you may be right that 10-7 may not get in, but I don't think the AFC looks like as unbelievable a conference as we thought before the season. Not saying we're not going to end up with 2 or 3 teams that are Super Bowl caliber teams, but before the season for the AFC, people thought there was like 6 or 7. It just, some of those teams have come out and they haven't been playing. Chargers don't look great. The Bengals haven't looked great. They have great talent and they have the ability to play well in big situations, but we don't look great. We're 2-2. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for checking out the video. I produced some other videos this week about the Ravens, particularly about Kyle Hamilton. Go watch that one because I'm interested to see how we cover the tight end when we do play man, and I'm interested to see how much he gets on the field. I'm not an anti-Chuck Clark guy. I like Chuck Clark. I love his story and love the way that he's carved out a solid career and hopefully created wealth for his family the last decades. Having said that, there's times where his poor eye discipline and man really hurts this defense. Look at the 3rd and 2 on the Bills' last drive. Look at the 3rd and 2 on the Bills' last drive last week to win the game 23-20. He's looking at the quarterback the whole time, not looking at the man, not looking at Knox, and Knox beats us for a 20-yard gain. That was a huge moment in the game, and there's a part of me that thinks, at some point we've got to let Kyle Hamilton guard these tight ends man-to-man and see what he can do in that role, because right now we're not getting much out of him from playing as a high safety or a half-field safety. He only played 17 snaps last game. I'm real interested in what other people's thoughts would be on Kyle Hamilton possibly covering Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst looks like he's put on 20 pounds and got faster, which is, unique and amazing, if you ask me. Yeah, run game. We got to limit the run game. So appreciate you guys' time. Please, any other questions or thoughts, on the stream or the game, put it in the comment section once I post this up here in another minute. Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your Saturday.